Hey everyone, Jolt here. ExcaliAI is a script available in the Obsidian Excalidraw script store. And today I'd like to show you the different enhancements I've made to the script over the last couple of weeks. First of all, we're going to look at the number of examples to showcase what ExcaliAI is capable of. Then we're going to take a bit more structured look at the various use cases currently implemented. We're going to look under the hood just a little so you have an understanding of the logic flow of how to use ExcaliAI. And finally, we're going to look at how you can install it, how you can set up your API key, and how you can get started with ExcaliAI. So let's start with this example. So I have this drawing here. I'm going to start ExcaliAI right here. So it's in the Obsidian Tools panel. And if I scroll down here, you will find the robot here that's ExcaliAI. Because we are going to use this frequently today, I'm going to long press on this. And by long pressing on it, it was added here to the side panel, so it's easier to access. And now I'm going to click on this. And here for the first example, I'm going to choose the model that I want to generate an image from an image and a prompt. And here I'm going to just add horror. I think that's enough. So I want to create a horror image of this. Here I can set the size. I'm actually going to set this to be portrait. And here's an important notice that I'm going to explain as this generates. Note, the generation takes quite some time because this depends on OpenAI's response times. The note I wanted to make is when the image is generated, you receive the image with a URL from OpenAI. That URL is going to be deleted after 30 minutes. So if you want to keep the image, then you will need to do the following. You will need to right-click on the image and you need to choose Save Image from URL to local file. When I do this, then the image was saved locally. Now, take a look at what was generated. I think this is pretty cool. So first of all, you can actually see the tree. You can see the house with the red roof. You can see the road, you can see the flowers or weeds in this case, and indeed this is a horror image. Now, what happens under the hood is I send this image to the vision interface of OpenAI and ask it to generate a detailed prompt. And so when the image is generated, this is the detailed prompt that OpenAI created, which was then sent to DALL-E for the image generation. And this is how we ended up with the image. Now let's just take a look at some of the examples we have. So I'm going to pull this here and I'm going to put my horror image here. And let's just quickly look at the various styles that I created. So this was my sci-fi image, this is my fairy tale version, this is my mountain cabin version, this is my simple life version, Van Gogh, minimalistic pencil version, the photo unsplash, and the black and white photo version. I think these are all pretty cool, and of course in all of the cases you can see how the house, the original pencil drawing that I created in Excalidraw on my phone was translated here. Now let's look at just another example here. So this is again an example here of a city, and you can see here these were the various versions that were generated from this. I'm not going to spend the time now to generate them, but just to show you how this works. Now, what I want to show you is how you can edit an image. So this is my image edit use case right here. So you can see that I can add a mask over the picture. Now notice that the generated image is a square, and that is a limitation by OpenAI DALL-E that the image must be square shaped. But here I can maybe change now my prompt. I'm going to delete or just move my mask from there, and I'm going to use these two masks on the side, and I'm going to now select the image. I'm going to start ExcaliAI, and I need to choose a different prompt. I'm now going to choose Edit Image. Now notice that when I click Edit Image, and maybe let me just click this back so you can see it. Now you can see the image with the gray boxes around it. If I click Edit Image, then you will see that this suddenly turns into two. Now this one right now maybe is not the ideal one. Let me just put this back here for a second so you can see what's going on. I'm going to again click Edit Image, and you can see here that the black areas are where the image is going to be created. This one right here is the same size as this one. It's just a bit, because they are next to each other, you don't see the mask, but of course you can see the mask right here. And what I want to do to experiment with is, let's see, what if I say that this is a busy city street. So this might not actually work so well. Let's see what OpenAI DALL-E is able to do with this, because of course this image is not a busy city street, but maybe it is going to draw some houses on the side or something like that. I'm super curious how OpenAI is going to solve this problem for us. So let's just wait until this generates. And well, yeah, so this is not really perfect. So you can see the busy city street, this thing appeared here. So my earlier approach with the spaceship flying saucer was better, but maybe we can do just one more experiment. You can see here I generated ports here, so I'm going to take this image right here. I'm again going to click ExcaliAI, and I'm going to write here city beach with lots of people. So hopefully this is going to work out much better. Note the generation can take up to 20-30 seconds, and wow, this is so cool. So you can see here our beach was created based on this image at the top, just a continuation of the image. I'm actually going to save this. So let's now look at one more use case. The use case I want to look at is generating a prompt. By the way, notice that every time I generate an image, this message pops up just to remind you that if you want to keep the image, you need to save it. I'm going to close it now. I have this practice of creating a picture every day for a daily quote. So this is a quote that I created this image for with Midjourney. So this is not Excalidraw and not DALL-E. This was my image generated for this quote with Midjourney, and I usually spend good 10-20 minutes playing around until I get to an image that I really like. But right now, let's see what happens if we automate this process. So I'm going to start ExcaliAI. I'm going to choose the generate an image to illustrate a quote, and I'm going to just paste here the quote. Now, in the meantime, let me just give you a little bit of explanation. First of all, let me close this because I shouldn't have selected the text. I don't want to send the image, so now it's only going to be the user prompt. So let me just walk you through what you see here on the screen. We have already looked at this drop-down list. This is where you can select the action. Each of the actions has a short help, so if you read it, hopefully that's going to give you some better idea of what that prompt is about. I have a system prompt for most of the actions. You can read the system prompt here. You can also try to modify the system prompt. I played a bit with these system prompts, so they generate the type of result I want. You can modify this as well if you want and see if you can come up with a better system prompt. And of course here we have the user prompt, and here I can choose the size of the image I would like to see generated. So this is now going to be a portrait image. Note that if you configure DALL-E 2, we'll look at configuration later, then the image sizes are going to be different. But right now, let's just generate an image to illustrate this quote, and let's see how this image is going to look like. Now, this is also something that happens sometimes, that there's an unexpected error. No problem, we can run again, and usually the second time when you run the script, it executes. In the script, I'm not doing serious amount of error handling, and as a result, you sometimes get that back. But again, this is just a reminder that as long as you see this generating spinner here, you know that I am waiting for the response from OpenAI. Because I print the image prompt here, this usually gives you an understanding of the logic why OpenAI thought that this would be a good illustration for the quote. So again, our quote was, "Don't ruin the present with the ruined past." So let's read this. Create an image featuring an otherworldly kaleidoscope-like landscape. The foreground includes a figure standing at a crossroads, their back to the viewer exuding resilience. To their left, a path showing the past, cluttered with fragments of broken objects and faded memories. To their right, the path is bright, leading to a vibrant and lively landscape. The figure's outstretched arm reaches for the enriching future. Rich, contrasting colors should exude energy and optimism. The scene should blur reality and fantasy boundaries, using light and shadow to symbolize a journey from past darkness to present light. The overall feeling should be hopeful, capturing the promise of embracing the present. So I think with this explanation, this image is pretty good. The next one is going to be about creating a mind map to explain a whiteboard image. This was available in the earlier version of ExcaliAI already. I made a little change that I want to show you. Here you need to choose Challenge My Thinking right there. And Challenge My Thinking is going to generate a mind map. You can add a user prompt or you can leave the prompt empty. I'm going to submit this. This is going to generate a mind map that partly summarizes the ideas on the image, partly adds additional ideas to it, and partly challenges the idea. So the image was, or the mind map was generated but wasn't inserted. So there's probably an issue with the script. And here's what's new. So first of all, I inserted the Mermaid script here. And secondly, here, if you open the menu and go to Mermaid to Excalidraw, you will find the script here and you can try to manually fix it. Unfortunately, OpenAI, ChatGPT sometimes results in incorrect formatting of Mermaid diagrams. So I'm going to just now clean this up. Probably this should be subgraph or something like that, but let's look at how this looks like. I'm guessing that if I would type here, so let's just undo the previous changes. So let's just type in subgraph like this, and I'm going to type end, and I'm going to just put this on my clipboard and replace these. So this unfortunately happens sometimes, that ChatGPT's generation of a mermaid graph is not perfect. But the good thing is that you don't need to regenerate it. Of course, you could also just simply press generate and create a new graph, or you can come in here and you can edit it. The additional benefit of editing the graph is end. So there you go. It's now created this graph that I can also change this to be from, instead of top down, maybe to be left right organized. And now if I insert this right here, then I can also use my script, select elements of type, and I'm going to select the arrows. And here I can make the arrows to be sharp instead of rounded. I like this look of the mind map a little better. And now we can read what OpenAI returned to us. So how should we go about filling the page? And this is the brick road approach to sketchnoting, and this is the expansion of the concept. So this is an alternative to linear note taking, and these two lines are on top of each other. So I'm just going to bring this down here, and yeah, I'm not going to read through the material, but you can see here that there's this analysis of my drawing. I can use this as a reflection on my thinking. I'm going to do this after recording this video, but I thought that this is a pretty interesting use case. The other example I want to show you is the code generation, which I think is more of just a game. I'm going to use this calculator right here, and I'm going to copy the prompt from here. And now I'm going to again start ExcaliAI. I'm going to select here Wireframe to code. The new feature in this case is you can provide the description of the application you want to build as a user prompt, so it's not part of the image. So you could also add the text prompt under the image and send it as an image, and then OpenAI would decode the text and generate probably the same calculator. This gives you some flexibility and options that now you can add a separate prompt. So let's look at this calculator. It looks good, so let's just see 12 plus, let's maybe 5 times 6 equals 42. So the calculator actually works as expected. 2 over 1 is 0.5, so this is pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the calculator. Also in the description, I asked the calculator to follow the color scheme of the image, and indeed I can see that this is largely the color scheme. I'm happy with the outcome. And now, before we quickly recap the various functions and look under the hood how to use the tool, here's one last example. So in this case, I took a photo from the internet and I added some icons from Flat Icons here and asked ChatGPT, or rather Dolly, to create an image. So here's the resulting image. I think this is pretty nice, and it's a nice mix of using some icons from the internet as well as a picture to frame what I'm looking for, and then GPT can generate the image for us. So with this, let's now just recap the different use cases. So altogether there are 3 big areas of use cases. Well, you can play, and that's the wireframe to code web development use case. You can create illustrations, and this reminds me there's one more example we didn't look at. So you can also create Excalidraw elements and convert elements to shapes. So let's look at this. I'm going to draw this circle here. I'm going to select this. I'm going to select convert sketch to shapes. I'm going to delete my prompt, and let's run this. This should be somewhat faster because here there's no image generation. It was faster, but the end result is, well, not very good. So this was converted into a box. I mean, I thought that this was a circle. So it's not perfect. Let's look at the other use case. These 2 use cases about creating Excalidraw shapes is more of an experiment from my side. They are really not that good at the moment, but let's create a smiley and let's see if the smiley is created. There's our smiley, if I can get the smiley out of there. So the smiley is actually pretty nice. I think that's I'm happy with the smiley part. You can also try others. I was successful with generating a car and a table and small things like that, but again, sometimes what's generated, you need to remove background colors or make parts transparent because it's hidden. It takes a bit of experimentation to work it out. But back to a look at the use cases. So web development and play. The other is generating Excalidraw Elements, which is super experimental. Creating and editing images. We looked at a whole bunch of examples here. There are also additional use cases where you can just simply generate an image from a prompt. You can also use this for visual brainstorming. Maybe we can look at this example as well. So back to the brick road approach. The visual brainstorming is about creating an image. So I'm going to now choose visual brainstorm. I'm just going to send this image over and I'm going to click run. So the visual brainstorm creates a picture that somehow resonates with the content of the whiteboard that you've created. My idea is that looking at the picture and looking at the whiteboard, it can spark some additional ideas. So this is the image that was generated. So this is about sketchnoting. For sure, we have the sketchnote artist. We have this idea up here. We have a bit of a diagram up in this corner. It's actually this leaf of ideas that are spreading all over. It is a nice illustration. Is it helping me thinking about sketchnoting? Well, maybe it does. So I can reflect on this image and connect it with the ideas from the brick road approach to sketchnoting and just see some links. I'm actually going to save this image. So again, final reminder that you need to save the image locally if you want to keep it. Otherwise, you come back tomorrow and this image is no longer going to be available. I think we've looked at all the use cases. So the other use case apart from illustrations is to generate new ideas, and generate new ideas could be illustration of a quote, it could be a visual brainstorm, or a mermaid graph that illustrates an idea. So then let's look at what's under the hood. I'm going to be very quick on this, but I think this is helpful, and you also saw how I'm using this in the presentation. So you need to select the elements you want to include in your prompt on the canvas. So for example, like this, I can select these elements, and then these are going to be the ones that I'm sending to OpenAI. For some of the prompts, like for example, for the quote, you don't need to select elements because then you're only sending the text prompt, and that's okay. Then you choose the task. Now, when you choose the task, then depending on the type of task, you saw that in case of selecting the image edit, then the picture and the Excalidraw elements were taken in two separate parts. So you remember here that we were looking at this mask like that. And here, if I start ExcaliAI, you can see that in the normal case, this entire image would be sent to OpenAI. If I choose here edit image, then this is split into two. I have the picture and I have the mask, and wherever the mask is black, that's where the image is going to be generated. Maybe this can be much more visible if I do it here. Let me bring this to the front like this. And so for example, if I would want to change this house into a skyscraper, then I would open ExcaliAI like this, and then you can see here that this is where the skyscraper will go. You can see the mask and you can see the image. So depending on the task, you will see a different preview image, either the image plus the mask or the image only. You can then provide your text prompt and optionally modify the system prompt. So the system prompt is this one up here. In case of edit image, there is actually no system prompt, but most of the cases there are. So this is the customize system prompt part. And then when you hit run at the bottom, then depending on the activity you selected, different things will happen. Either a Mermaid graph is generated, or an Excalidraw drawing is generated, or a web app, or maybe DALL-E is executed and an image is created. In some cases, and this is the case when you create an image prompt and you add an image and a prompt and you want to create a new image based on that, inspired by that, like my little house. So this was, these are all the examples of that. Then what happens is first I call GPT Vision, and GPT Vision generates an image prompt. And then with that, I go to DALL-E and I generate the image. And finally, if you like the image, you should save it locally, right-click Save Locally, or if not, then OpenAI will delete the image in 30 minutes. I'm not saving the images automatically to the vault because I'm assuming that there's going to be lots of rubbish generated by OpenAI and you don't want to clutter your vault. So this requires a bit of deliberate action on your side to save what you find, to save it locally. And finally, let's look at what it takes to get started with this. So first of all, you need to install ExcaliAI from the script library. How does it work? You click here to open the Obsidian Tools panel, and top left you see install or update Excalidraw scripts. If I open this, then I can search for ExcaliAI like this. It will take me here, and if I click on this, then here I can just simply click install. Now it's already installed, so I don't need to install it, but this is how I would install it. If I click this, it will say installed ExcaliAI. Once you have ExcaliAI working, you need to go to OpenAI and you need to create an account and add money to that account. So this is the link you need to open, and you can see here that this is my balance. I have $3.92. By the way, generating images, we can look at how much today's usage costs. So generating all the images we did right now, I was already, I think, at 9 cents. So today, this image generation for the video cost me about 40 cents. I don't think it's a huge amount of money. So this is where you can see the usage information as well. Once you have your account and you've added money to the account, you need to add at minimum $5. Otherwise, the GPT Vision model is not going to be available to you. If you have at least $5 on your account, you still need to wait about 10-20 minutes for OpenAI to activate your access. And then you can come here and configure in Obsidian. You need to create an OpenAI API key. You can see the link right here. If I click on this, it takes me to the API keys. I can click here to create a new secret key, and then the key is going to be created. And then I need to go to plugin settings right here, and I need to click on Excalidraw AI settings, and here I can configure my API key and my different models as well. And finally, when you're done, come here to the tools panel and find ExcaliAI here amongst the downloaded scripts. If you long click on it, then you can add it, pin it to the side panel, and from then on it's going to work as I've demonstrated it to you in the video. So that's all I wanted to share with you today. I already use this a lot in my workflows. I enjoy it so much. Yes, it costs a little money, but the amount is not so much. And I think the benefit you're getting with the images, with the mind maps, with the workflows is super valuable. Give it a try and let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you.